This video will show you how to do the initial offset calibration. Step 1 is we'll turn our beam voltage on to 2 kV. I have my filament on. I have 300 nanoamps of target current. I've opened an alignment for the elastic peak, which goes from 1950 to 2050 EV. And let's go ahead and acquire an elastic peak. What we want to do initially is set the CMA to target distance so that we have the maximum counts at approximately 2000 EV. Okay, I'll move my sample a little bit. Counts are going up. A little bit more. Counts are coming down. Let's back up. Counts are coming up. A little bit more. A little bit more. Counts are starting to come down. So this is approximately my correct focal distance. Don't worry that this elastic peak is not coming in at 2000 EV right now, because that's going to get adjusted when you do the linearity adjustment. Okay, so when we want to look at the initial offset adjustment, we're going to look at the low energy peak where the electrons first come into the CMA, which is down around 8 to 10 EV. So we will go in and change our settings on this elastic peak to scan from 0 to 100 EV. Apply. Now we don't want the electron multiplier to get saturated, and so what we'll do is we'll set the maximum count, the maximum default voltage to 1000 volts. Okay, and acquire. Okay, we see that this initial turn-on peak of low energy is down around 8 to 10 EV, and that's where we want it to be. So I'm going to change the pot a little bit so that you can see. See if I change that pot, this has moved out, it's closer to 30 EV now, and so if you've noticed, what that also does is it's shifted this peak out as well, up to 70. Well, we know that that's copper, so that's supposed to be down around 58 EV or so. So let's adjust the offset back down. Okay, that's pretty close. So you just want it to be somewhere in the range of 8 to 10 EV. You'll do the actual adjustment when you do the final adjustment, rather, when you do the linearity adjustment, where you're going to set the low energy peak on copper, for example, to be 58 or so, and differentiate it will be 60, and the high energy copper peak will be 920, and then after that you go back and adjust the beam voltage scale factor so that the elastic peak comes in at 2000 volts. So this procedure is just to let you know that this is the way that you set the initial offset value, just in case if you've somehow adjusted that and it's way off position, because it will shift all your peaks. Okay, we'll stop this alignment, go back to the multiplier, and let's set our default voltage back up to 1300 volts. Typically the default voltage will be 1300 to 1400 volts, and the maximum voltage will be 1300 to 1400 volts.